Hello again, welcome back to Three Bridges and my Mind the Gap update. So this is the next one in doing the top level of Uxbridge Station. So this is sort of where I finished off last time. So I've got basically a template here that allows me to create one of my sort of roof support structures. I've added in the guidelines for where I put my cross members, and again sort of reference point here so that when I'm putting it together, it's sort of, I've got something to help me work out where to glue the parts. So at the moment I've got obviously the two main struts, I've got the three larger roof sections, and then I've got four of these smaller sections which join here, and this is where the Uxbridge sign will sit eventually. So if I go to the part that's been made, I'm going to measure up and make up the first one. Try and explain what I'm going to build. I've gone back to a couple of images I've got. So this one's actually of Cockfosters. If you know you're underground, the green and the yellow. And the black will tell you it's Cockfosters Station, but the structure is the same. So as you can see, I need to get these sort of glazed areas along the side. And there is this concrete bar as well, which ties all the parts together, and obviously you've got a solid roof over the top. And then when you actually look over the side two parts, you can see that there's a solid slab in the middle holding the station together, and then there's sort of two glazed sections either side of it. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is, so to do the bar, I've made up a short section. So this is going to glue and tie in here, and then for the central section, so I've stuck together three bits of card like so. So this will sit across here, and again the bottom piece I've made it just slightly longer, so this creates two lips that I can basically support my glazing on later on. And then my plan is to have the glazing along here as well. So what I will eventually do is glue a thin bar along the top, but that can come later. And then obviously I will have the central roof section. So I'm sort of feeling this will allow me to get enough of a support structure along the whole length of the station that I will be able to lift the whole roof off in one go, and it will sort of be tied together. But it still allows me sort of visibility into the station, which is the bit I'm really keen to maintain, so that you can actually still see into the structure through the glazed sections. I started to progress along the sides with these main struts that will hold the roof together in sort of that angle. What I'm very conscious about is it's still gonna, when you pick it up, it will flop this way. It's about 1 metre long, the station. So I think the easiest thing to do is that when I come to do the back wall, I'll glue it to these struts to just give some rigidity in that dimension, so it's almost like an L-shaped frame, and I think that will give it enough stability so that when I do have to pick it up and down, it'll only be occasionally, it won't be a problem to do so. Also, getting this up into the loft, I don't really want to have to glue this onto here and then transport the whole lot up into the loft. It's quite large now. So with these bits, I've just literally been, so it's the same approach. You've got three bits of card, so with the top layer and then two more just to give it a bit of strength, and then I sort of measured the gap, put in the next piece. So those three are the same, and then I just got to measure up a smaller one for the end here. So I will, when I'm quite happy that they're all in place, I will I will glue these in place, both sides, and that'll then fix the position of each of these. And then I can start working on the thin bar that's got to go along here, either side, and the bar that will go at the top, and then getting the roof section on. And that's as far as I want to try and get it with this video. But yeah, I'm liking the shape of it and how it looks, looking in, and that sort of structure that it has, almost skeletal structure that you get at Uxbridge Station, which is one of the key features of the station. Some people think it's one of the best of the later design stations that they did. As you can see, I've got the Reverend Iron Horse keeping me going this afternoon as I cut up another A4 sheet of 1.5mm card. So I think I'm on sheet 9 at the moment for this station build. So the next bit is to decide where I want to glue this and fix it. So what I've made up is, this is sort of a template of what the glazing will look like. So that's the glazing section that will go in. I've still got to put other lines on, trying out different ideas. So there's the bar at the back, which has obviously got a little lip on it, and then this one. So I've dropped that in. So that's my set dimension, and I'm quite happy with where, if I can show you, where that central slab sort of sits. So as you look directly down, you can see right to the platform edge. So don't worry too much that it's not parallel, because obviously I haven't aligned it parallel. I don't need to at the moment, as long as this is all parallel. So I'll measure up what the distance is between here, the end, and I will take the plunge and glue the first slab in place. Put some weights on and leave it, and go back to watching some more Reverend Iron Horse and his weekly sermon. I think it's point motors today, but not a rant, more of an encouragement for the industry. So as you know, I've got 6 of these structures going across, and I need to join this long sort of roof strut to each one. So following my, I suppose, the Mr. Benchwork approach that I use when I'm making the open framework, which is measure less, work smarter. So basically from the first one, I've made up a little just cardboard jig guide that I know that if I put that on there and it's flush with the end, that is in exactly the position I need it to be. So I don't need to worry about marking up each of these and measuring them, getting the ruler out each time. I'm simply putting the glue on the underside, turn it over, roughly pop it in place, and then just tweak it with the guide to the right position. And because I'm using the Gorilla Glue, the PVA glue, which is my wood glue, it grabs pretty quickly, so you've got a couple of minutes. Whereas if I'd have used the PVA or sort of craft glue, you sort of got to wait, 20 minutes, half an hour for it to even grab, and leave it overnight usually. So done one side, I'll do the other side, and then that should at least have everything spaced out how I want it, so I can then start working on the inner part of the structure. Right, as you can see, I've got the inner 2 bars cut and positioned. I still need to glue them in place. And I had a test go at trying to create some of the glazing for this end. Still playing around with a couple of ideas. So last night I was looking for, I'd got my first section of the roof, which I'd cut out previously. Could I find it? I spent 20 minutes looking for it, all on the floor, everywhere. I woke up this morning and then remembered I'd used it to cut up these strips. You gotta love senior moments, haven't you? Still haven't worked out who put my car keys in the fridge next to my slippers. Well, as always, I'm sort of adapting on the fly. So to get this upper glazing bar on, so it'll sit on this support strut that I've got that you can sort of see on the Uxbridge station. And I had thought of putting a thin strip along here, but I realised what would be more sensible to do is, this is my roof section, obviously flipped over. So I'm putting the bar basically onto the roof section. It will give it a bit of rigidity where it sort of moves from one section to the next. And it takes about 3 and a tiny bit panels to do of the A4 sheets to do the whole roof. So, and then these glazed bars will basically glue against the main struts and the bottom, and then effectively they'll just sit against this lip. And I'm going to have it so that I can take my roof on and off at the time being. I still haven't quite worked out where I'm going to put the lighting inside yet, so rather than glue the roof down, I'll have it so I can remove it. But the gaps are quite tight between these bars on the roof and the struts below, so it sort of grabs quite well to the roof and stays in place. So nearly there, getting the final bit of the roof. So I've just got this end bit to do. When all of this is then made up, so it won't be on this video, I'm going to spray the whole thing in sort of concrete grey. So the card is very close to the concrete grey anyway. I've been using that sort of colour for the lower bits and inside, and so it'll all sort of tie together. And then obviously at some point in the future I'll weather it all up, because obviously built in the 50s, didn't they? So the station's mental maths. About 80 years old. So yeah, a bit of weathering needed. Well, I keep talking about this station as 1950s when it was designed and built, and I've just gone back and checked the Wikipedia. So opened under the new sort of arrangement in 1938. So yeah, nearly 90 years old. So it was in the pre-war years that they actually finished building it. So anyway, nobody's ever corrected me, so maybe they never get that far in my videos. Okay, so final flyby for this one. So this is my entrance. So you come in on 3 different levels, and then the tracks at the bottom split out. So you've got 4 lines at the bottom, and then it comes up to, so this will be above ground, the Uxbridge station. Sun's setting nicely over it at the moment. I'm really pleased with how this has come out. Thought about this for a long time, and I just couldn't start on the build because I think I just wasn't confident of the design I was going to go for. So I sort of waited. Quite happy with the other bits underneath. So these are the sort of subterranean underground bits. They're inspired by the Antwerp station, where it's on 3 decks. So you don't get this at Uxbridge. This is just my building your own station and enjoying it. Anyway, so still plenty to do, but yeah, it's really nice to have this main structure ready, and I now need to start thinking about doing the glazing along the side, and also some lights for the top area. So been looking at some images of Uxbridge and Cockfosters where they've got the lights hanging down actually from this central area, and I'm just wondering if that might to cast some light either side. My big globes, so I have these slightly larger than the real globe lights I managed to find online. Obviously still got to put all the signs in, put the seats in, put the back wall on, my music posters, so I don't do advertisement from the era, or period I do music I listened to at that time in my life. So this is Uxbridge was from 18 to 23, no, 25, 7 years. So, yeah, anyway, if you made it this far, do appreciate it. Thank you very much. For those who joined the channel since the last one, thank you as well. Slowly creeping towards that 400 number. I'm sure I'll get there one day. I'm not bothered about all that sort of stuff. Just quite enjoying sharing what I'm doing. And I'll catch you next time, whenever that is. Cheers and thanks for watching. Bye.